Welcome to the third and final part of my overview of my favourite music. We looked at my favourite bands in part 1 and the first half of my top 50 favourite songs in part 2, so check out those videos if you haven't. And now let's count down from number 25 to number 1. Number 25. Right from the beginning, I love that piano riff, which sounds subdued and a little melancholy, quite appropriate considering the song seems to be about shame. This was the beginning of a new sound for the band, the first single from the Minutes to Midnight album, and it's one of their simplest, most straightforward songs. And the video, I think, complements it very well, especially towards the end when the camera orbits around each of the band members from a low angle. That's the image I'll always think of when I think of this song. No, I don't think of it as the Transformers song. Number 24. I did it my way. I love this song, not just for its easily accessible melody, which did you know was actually a rewrite of a French song called Comme d'habitude, which means as usual, but because I've always loved the sentiment of being content, even proud of all your accomplishments. So you could say it's an inspirational piece. We all want to be in a position where we can sing this song and mean it. In that respect, it's the opposite of Gangsta's Paradise from earlier, an uplifting life story rather than a tragic one. Some of my other Frank Sinatra favorites would include Nothing But the Best, Something Stupid, and Bad Bad Leroy Brown. Number 23. Blink-182 have referred to this as a song that anyone can enjoy, and from my experience, they're right. In terms of composition, it's probably their most instrumentally layered song ever, at least that I've heard. And as for the lyrics, I don't know if it's necessarily about a breakup, but it definitely gives the air of a relationship on the rocks, and for that, it's pretty heartbreaking. It might be the most mature I've ever seen Blink-182. In fact, there are times when I wonder if it should really just be my second favorite of their songs. Number 22. This song just plain rocks. On record, at least. I will admit seeing the video has tainted the song quite a bit. But taking the embarrassing performance out of it, this is a song where I can easily imagine the singer rocking out with a guitar, and that synthesizer riff just adds that little extra punch. I can't help but get with the beat whenever I hear it. It's also ironic how upbeat the song sounds, considering the main theme of the lyrics is frustration. Some of my other Bruce Springsteen favorites would include Darkness on the Edge of Town, Hungry Heart, and Shenandoah. Number 21. Hands down, my favorite Eric Clapton song. I love it not just for its gorgeous riff and good hook, but because it's not an earnest declaration of love or anything. It's about spending an evening out with the one you love and simply being happy to be with them. There's something refreshing about drawing on something so relatable for inspiration and not trying to be too poetic. I'd also recommend the official live video, especially if you want a more respectable live performance compared to the previous song on the list. Some of my other Eric Clapton favorites would include Hello Old Friend, Bad Love, and I Can't Stand It. Number 20. Just look into my eyes, 'cause the heart never lies. I got into McFly because my sister was, and still is, a huge fan. It was fascinating to come to appreciate them as musicians, and funny to think that when they first hit the scene, we dismissed them as Busted 2.0. This song is a shining example. Coming from the band that had previously made teen-orientated pop rock like Five Colors in Her Hair, this is a downright Westlife level power ballad. It was actually inspired initially by the band themselves, which you can definitely hear in lines like Number 19. Easily my favorite song the Chili's have ever done. It has a groove that you can get into very easily, making the heavier chorus seem all the more awesome, and then it ends with a fantastic guitar solo. I can't phrase it any more succinctly than that. I just love listening to this song. So I'll just add an interesting bit of trivia. The woman who's the subject of this song was also referenced in the other Chili's song on this list, Californication, and also in By the Way. Frontman Anthony Kiedis views it as the same character but developing. Number 18. Another song that I like almost entirely for the atmosphere it creates. Even before I saw the video, the instrumentation and some of the lyrics conjured up images of an old, dark, deserted house. Very appropriate because, as the title would imply, the main theme I always picked up from the song is loneliness. The band said it's about the vulnerability and heart-wrenching pain you feel when you're in love and you're afraid it won't last. I'd also commend it for being perhaps their only song to feature all acoustic instruments. Number 17. This is one that I caught on a music channel once and never forgot. The strong beat and soul-inspired dance pop style won me over instantly, and the video is just plain awesome. I still have no idea what the title lyric means, but overall the song's about faith and spirituality, and in the case of the chorus, pitting love against it. I don't know how many people still remember this song, but I hope I can at least reignite some interest in it. In any event, it's one of my favorites. I had listened to Sam Sparro's self-titled first album, but I'm not sure what some of my other favorites would be, aside from maybe Pocket. Number 16. This is to songs what Sunshine is to my favorite movies. I didn't really like this song at first, I thought it was a bit too monotonous, but now I just can't get enough of it. I don't know what that synthesizer playing the opening riff is called, but it just sounds really cool. And it's one of the best showcases of Chester Bennington's abilities as a singer. Rather than sounding overly aggressive, he really sells the oppressed and desperate nature of the song. And I dare you to try and sing the chorus all on one breath. Number 15. What do I even need to say about one of Guns N' Roses' most classic songs? It's one of the longest songs they've ever recorded, and their first attempt at a symphonic power ballad. And needless to say, I think they really pulled it off. Apparently Axl Rose had been working on the song since 1983 during his days with LA Guns, so it took him almost a decade to perfect it. Interestingly, during the Chinese Democracy Tour in 2006, Axl claimed that the other band members opposed the song, preferring direct rock songs over orchestral ballads, but Slash has denied any such disagreements. Number 14. My favorite Righteous Brothers song by a clear mile, and possibly the best showcase of their vocal talents. Of course, Bill Medley steals the show with his outstanding baritone that magnificently captures the utter remorse of the song's subject matter, but Bobby Hatfield does get to show off his high range in the bridge. Individually, they could both easily be considered among the greatest singers of all time, but together they're nothing short of flawless. I personally can't comment on Phil Spector's groundbreaking production, which is also often mentioned, but the whole song sounds just as immaculate as the Righteous Brothers themselves. Some of my other Righteous Brothers favorites would include You're My Soul and Inspiration, Hung on You, and of course Unchained Melody. Number 13. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be simply a stone cold classic. What I love about this song, besides the way it sounds of course, is that it's about something arguably even more important than love: friendship. I mentioned this before with Queen's Friends Will Be Friends, but platonic love and devotion can be just as powerful as romantic love that's so often hyped up. Bill Withers wrote it because he missed the community ethic of his childhood home, but it's easy to apply it to the idea of always being there for your best friends. Either way, I have yet to meet a single person who doesn't like this song. I'm not sure what some of my other Bill Withers favorites would be, aside from Lovely Day. Number 12. Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. Again, this is by far my favorite song from the artist in question. This might be his signature song. It was certainly his first major hit despite being only his second single, and for good reason. It's easy to sing along with, the melody is beautiful, and it splendidly showcases Billy Joel's talent as a musical storyteller. I'm not sure how much more I can say about it. I think the song speaks for itself. So play it next time you have a party or something and see how well it works as a crowd pleaser. Number 11. Like many of the other songs, this one makes the list almost purely for its aesthetics. I just love everything about the way this song sounds. The guitar work, the blood-pumping beat, the vocals, everything. I also like how the positive but slightly somber tone of the guitar riff matches the lyrics. At first I thought it was just generally about sticking with your love until death, but I'm pretty sure the death in question is actually due to an overdose. My only regret is that this just falls short of the top 10 on my list. I truly love this song. I have listened to their first album, but I'm not sure what some of my other Plus 44 favorites would be. Number 10. Much like the previously mentioned Back for Good, this in many ways is just another cookie-cutter pop song about missing your ex, but goddamn do I love it. Lemar's voice and the R&B soul instrumentation complement each other superbly, and he really sells the forlorn nature of the lyrics. Yes, letting someone go is indeed not easy, no matter how much you're convinced by other people or yourself to move on. Once again, all I can say is I never get tired of listening to this. I have listened to Lemar's The Hits compilation, but I'm not sure what some of my other favorites would be. Number 9. Hands down my favorite song that could be labeled as disco/dance. The original Village People version is generally interpreted as an expression of the idea of San Francisco as a utopia for the gay liberation movement in the 1970s, and in that respect it can make for a great gay anthem. But it can just as easily be supplanted with the idea of moving away with your loved one to a whole new life of endless opportunities. That's how I always saw it, at least. Some of my other Pet Shop Boys favorites would include Always on My Mind and Domino Dancing. Number 8. Now this song needs no introduction. It should come as no surprise to you that it's in my top 10. The only surprising thing about it is that it's only at number 8. I know every word and probably just about every note as well, and can't help but air guitar whenever I hear the first solo, not to mention the hard rock outro. You could probably talk for hours about its composition and what it's supposed to be about, so I'd rather not get into that. Let's just sit back and enjoy every second of the all-time classic that it is. Number 7. Now I doubt many of you have even heard of this song because it wasn't released as a single, it's an album track from 12 Stops and Home, but I truly think it deserves more recognition because it's catchy enough that it could have easily warranted a single. Granted, the same goes for nearly every song on that album, but if you're not tapping your foot by the end of this song in particular, something's wrong with you. It just puts a beaming smile on my face whenever I hear it. Once again, I'd really have to do a full top 10 to do all my other The Feeling favorites justice. That list would include Without You and most of the 12 Stops and Home album. Number 6. This is easily my favorite MJ song because, simply put, it's the one that most makes me want to dance. The song itself is grooving enough, but the video just adds so much more flavor. The lighting, the setting, the clothes, this to me is the epitome of coolness. And it has to be the best display of dancing I've ever seen. If there's anything that could inspire me to learn to dance, you're looking right at it. All pretty ironic considering the song's about a brutal assault. Number 5. Probably my most predictable pick of the entire list, but for good reason. It's just an all-around perfect rock ballad. What do I even need to say about it? Well, I suppose I could mention that, as you may or may not know, the opening riff was originally just Slash warming up between recordings, but the other band members liked it so much that they started to add to it. It started as basically a joke, but it ultimately led to their biggest hit. Funny how things work out sometimes, isn't it? Number 4. This, to me, is the ultimate feel-good song. The up-tempo guitar, that allegro synth riff, the nostalgic lyrical content, it's just one of those songs that leaves you with a smile on your face. That's about all I can say about it, so the only other thing I'll mention is the question of whether or not the title has a double meaning. Even Bryan Adams himself seems unsure. I prefer to think it doesn't, but regardless, who cares? Let's just sit back and rock out. I have no other Bryan Adams favorites off the top of my head. I did listen to his anthology compilation, but hardly liked any songs on it, so I just individually ripped the few that I did. Number 3. This is one of very few songs on this list that can be considered an anthem for the downtrodden, or as the song puts it, the broken, the beaten, and the damned. It's basically saying don't let it get to you, don't let the cruelties of life break you. Your fortitude can leave an impact on others and will make the world a better place in the long run. And in that respect, it's probably the most inspirational song on the list. Also, I have to mention that it has what could well be my favorite music video of all time. Some of my other MCR favorites would include Famous Last Words, I Don't Love You, and Helena. Number 2. Wherever you go, whatever you do, I will be right. I just realized that most of the love songs on this list are actually breakup songs. I think it's time I show you my more romantic side. Right from the first note, this song hits me right here, you know? It's a sentiment that everyone can hold dear, to be so much in love that whenever you spend a long time apart, your feelings won't be any lesser when you finally see each other again. Also, my number 1 pick has changed several times over the years, but this one has always been close behind. It's forever doomed to be the perpetual runner-up. This is another one that I downloaded individually because as much as I love this particular song, I highly doubt I'd want to own any Richard Marx albums. And my number 1 favorite song of all time is... Everybody's changing and I don't know why. What can I say? Not only is it my favorite song of all time, it's also from my favorite album of all time, from my favorite artist of all time. It's another song that people instantly think of when they think of Keane, and I'm sure I'm not alone in never being able to resist the urge to sing along whenever I hear it. It's just a song that inevitably makes me happy, and I suppose that's all anyone really needs. But you could also say it sums up the inception of Keane as we know them, because it was written at a time when they were struggling to get anywhere as a band, when most of their friends were moving away and getting on with their lives, and they were getting nowhere, wondering if they were doing the right thing. I guess in that way it's a desperate song, but at the same time, the knowledge that all that doubt ultimately paid off makes it just as uplifting as the instrumentation makes it sound. Either way, it's a song I never get tired of. Like I said, I've gone through several absolute favourite songs before, so I'm not sure if this one will ever be replaced, but for now at least, I'm proud to declare Everybody's Changing my favourite song of all time. Runners-up. Like I said before, there are hundreds of songs that I call potential runners-up. As well as all the other favourites I mentioned among all the artists we've looked at, these are just a few examples. You know you gotta help me out, yeah, don't you put me on the back burner. And that concludes my set of lists. Thank you so much for watching them all, or whichever ones you did. I don't know, maybe this was the first one you came across. Maybe I'll compile some more in the future, but for now I'm burnt out. In the meantime, I'd love to hear some lists from you too, if you can. So again, thanks for watching. Take care.